FlatsClass YouTube, welcome back. I'm getting a little excited. You know, we're almost halfway through February right now. These skies are looking, well, they're looking pretty Chamber of Commerce these days. And I'm noticing that the fronts are not back to back to back. We're getting 6-7 days of warmer weather in between the fronts. And when that happens, that water temperature starts to elevate a little bit. And it's time to pull out the Topwaters. So this week, I get a chance to do a little bit of filming. I'm excited about it. I'm setting up some of my topwater combos, and I want to share them with you because you'll want to take advantage of those first couple of weeks where you can throw that topwater, because these fish, especially those big speckled trout, they go crazy for it. So let's jump in the shop here, talk about it a little bit, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. Okay, I am excited. I think this is that time of year when we're coming out of really cold weather. It's been pretty cold here in my region basically since early December, and January was really cold. We had some really cold, chilly temperatures, enough to make me worry about snook. But as we move through February, I start getting pretty excited about speckled trout fishing getting better, because usually February, March, and early April is fantastic for speckled trout. And if you get enough warm weather, those hungry snook will start transitioning from the back out to the creek mouths and river mouths and points. And you can have some spectacular days on topwater. I mean, really spectacular days. So here's the scenario that I'm looking at this week. I'm going to be filming with my son, and it's actually an episode for FlatsClass TV that we're doing. And it's working out perfect because the dark moon is this coming Friday. And today was our lowest high temp that we're going to have for the next 5 days. And today, just so you have some perspective, is Tuesday. So I'm thinking, well, tomorrow it's going to be as warm, if not warmer. Thursday it's going to be as warm, if not warmer. And then it's going to be nice and warm on Friday. And then you all are going to be fishing on the weekend. But we don't get another front now until next Tuesday. So when you start to see that bump up in water temperature, especially later in the day on the turn of the tide, guys, I'm telling you, this is the time to throw these topwaters. This is one of my speckled trout boxes. It's got all kinds of topwaters in there, and I'll take a few of them out. But I generally like throwing these Top Dog Junior sizes, She Dog size baits, the Duke Dog. I do bring some smaller ones, Top Pups, She Pups. I'll even bring out, the Mirrolure XL or the Papa Mullet. So I'll fish all of them. I'm not gonna not figure it out, but I really want to throw the big ones, because I know there's going to be some speckled trout in some of my favorite zones that I like to fish for them that are going to be in that 22, 23, 24 inch size. And the bigger bait that I can throw, the bigger lure I can throw, the better. So I will bring rods with Paul Brown Fat Boys on them, Catch 2000s, but there's nothing like watching them take down, flush the toilet, if you will, on a topwater. So I want to show you two setups, one spinning, one casting, that I'm probably going to be, putting into action. So let me reach over here and grab the spinning rod first. So let me reach right over here and grab my spinning rod outfit. I'm going to try not to take out the ceiling fan or the tip of my rod with the ceiling fan. This is a 7-foot medium heavy moderate fast rod. Now it says fast, but so many spinning rods are designed, honestly, to have an action that lets them fish with braid. So if you took a fast action casting rod, which I'll show you next, versus a fast action spinning rod, they bend differently. They don't bend the same. They just don't. And that's a lot of the reason why I throw casting rods a lot, because the actions are more closer together and I can play more with different lures. But anyhow, this is an excellent one. This is in the Aquafin series for Fitzgerald. This is their medium heavy. It's fast. It's designed to throw lighter lures all the way down to an 1/8. Now I don't throw 1/8 on this one very much. Typically I have found the sweet spot with this rod to be something from 3/8, 1/2 ounce, 5/8. That's the window I like to throw. But because it's a spinning rod and the line is pulled off the spool, I can go to the top range of 3/4, which is perfect for this Top Dog Junior. Now this is a custom colored Top Dog Junior for us. This is the Low Country Boil. And I'm running 10-pound braid so I can get a maximum, distance cast with this thing, so it really gets out there. And when you make these, like I'm making this King Kong cast on this rod to throw this heavier lure out there, in those situations, lots of times, it is nice to have braid, because if something blows up on the plug out there, it's easy to get tight to it because you've got a faster reel and you've got braid that stretches, very little, and you get a positive connection. The tough part about braid floating on the water, though, is if it's a little bit windy or whatever, it makes it harder to stay in rhythm with your lure, and it can be tough just to work the zone that you want. But this is a great setup here. I've got 10-pound, this is 10-pound light blue diamond braid. I put on a short section of 30-pound Diamond Illusion fluorocarbon leader. When I say short section, it's like 18 inches long. Now I do have treble hooks on the plug, but I bend the barbs down. And I feel as if I can get away with lighter action rods if I use treble hooks. If not, if I go to single inlines, you gotta go up in action and weight of rods so that you can get hook penetration on a topwater plug with those heavier gauge hooks. So it makes it a little bit more challenging. So that's why I went that way. Overall, it's a very light setup. A lot of that has to do with the Shimano Sustain. I know that's a higher end reel, but of all the reels that Shimano has in their spinning rod, spinning reel lineup, I should say, it is by far my favorite. Lots of times I always think, why would you go and spend the money on a Stella or spend the money on a twin power that's faster? Now, I do like the twin powers for live bait fishing or natural bait fishing, but I do love their Sustain. I think it is one of their better reels in their lineup. But this whole setup is really, really nice for topwater fishing. If you guys want to know the model number on this one, I'll have to look it up because I don't see it. It's not obvious on here. And I've tried in the past to show you guys what this is, but basically if you look there, you can tell this is in the Aquafin from Fitzgerald. And just look up 7-foot medium heavy. There's only one in that series that's built like this, and that's the one you want. Now, the rod, my son's probably going to be employing this rod. I personally am going to be using, put this out of the way, I'm going to be grabbing this one. This is the one, or the rod, that I'm going to be throwing. This is a cool rod. It's a newer addition to the Fitzgerald lineup, actually. And I'll show it to you real quick. Let me loosen this up. This is in the all-purpose, but it's their medium heavy composite. It's a 6'8" rod, okay? For me, I think that this is my perfect topwater rod. What does it really mean that it's a composite rod? Well, I'm going to try to show this to you. This rod is a medium heavy and it's pretty stiff, but see how it has that nice flex in the tip? Well, they have blended glass and a composite glass and graphite zone in here that bleeds down into the graphite. So it's nice and soft here at the tip. It's perfect for topwater. It's perfect for a lot of treble hook baits. It's 6'8", it's nice and light. It's easy to work the bait down. Down. It throws everything from 1/4 to 3/4. It's a 10 to 17 pound weight rod. Now I'm going to show you something that might freak you out a little bit. I'm not throwing braid on this rod. I'm actually throwing, this is not fluorocarbon, this is a copolymer line. This is Diamond Illusion. Copolymer lines were really popular when I was coming up. Before we started having castable fluorocarbon. And basically what it is, it's a premium monofilament line. It doesn't stretch as much as monofilament, but it stretches more than fluorocarbon does. But the nice thing about it is this line floats, so it's perfect for topwater. So I can make nice long casts with this. This is 16 pound. The reason I know, and I will try to turn this around and not take any of you guys out there in YouTube land. As you see, I like to label stuff. This is my topwater rod. This is what I use it for. And then I've got a label there that tells me exactly what pound test the copoly is and what leader material I got on there. I got 30 pound. So that's the kind of stuff that I like to have ready at hand to fish. Now, I've got, you're probably saying, well, you tied leader on mono, it's already mono. Well, there's a lot of invisibility, but what I've done here is I've actually, if I can set this in without hurting me or you guys, I've blood knotted right there, if you see that. I've got a little blood knot there to put the leader on. I just want a little bit of stiffness in the front, and you know that most of you guys will tie a circle knot here, just kind of like a loop knot. But what I've done is I tie direct connect here so that I don't get this hook catching that line. I do that because I'm going to have enough stretch in that copoly that this bait's going to walk real nice and easy. Here's the other thing it's going to do for me. When a fish, a trout, my hope, comes up over the top of this bait, gets it and rolls down to the bottom, there's going to be that delay where he pulls it under and I'm trying to reel up and get a hook in him. When that happens, and I have changed the hooks, if you look at this bait closely, you'll see I've got extra wide gap hooks on here. I took factory hooks off and I replaced it with the BKK spear hooks. These are the EWGs. Yes, they're expensive, very expensive, but if the fish gets close to this, he's going to get hooked. No doubt in my mind. The best part about having this copoly with a little bit of give is that delay to let them get under the water so I don't skip it out like I would with braid. They've got it. They load my rod up nice and slow because it's a composite rod. And then they can come to the top of that big fish and shake his head all he wants, and he's not getting rid of those hooks. Those are a lot like the old KVD triple grip hooks, these BKK spears. He's not getting rid of those hooks at all. And even when we get close, the most important part of the topwater game is when the fish comes along boat side and you're sitting there trying to net him with that rubber net or a wet hand or a wet gloved hand to try to get him behind the ears. He's not going to come off because usually you got that big gaping hole there when you fish those fish on topwater with braid. That's not going to happen with this setup that I have. It's my favorite way to topwater fish. It's the way we used to always topwater fish, but you get away from that over time. And last year I played with this a little bit when we were filming, and I liked the way it felt, and I started doing it a little bit more. Now, I would not use this every time I go topwater fishing, but for speckled trout, wide open water, this is the way to go. I'm telling you, if you give this stuff a try, you're going to like it. It is a neat way to target these fish. I'm going to play around with it a little bit with some of my subsurface baits, like my Paul Brown, my Catch 2000, and I just rigged another rod out there, just straight 16-pound poly all the way to the Catch 2000. And most of the time when you're catching trout, they never really get up on the leader. They'll get the back end of the plug usually, or the plug sideways in their mouth. You're never really worried about the leader that much. But in this case with topwater, don't know if a big snook's going to show up there. We're going down to the Florida Sports Coast Zone and fish down there, and it's a little warmer than it is here down there, so the opportunity for snook could be there. But those are the two topwater combos that I'm excited about using going into this dark moon this weekend. If you want to try something new and you've started to embrace that casting gear, you've got to start trying some of the lines that are other than braided line. It's gonna change your game a little bit. Now I want to tell you about FlatsClass University. FlatsClass University is a membership, a subscription online fishing school that I started here in 2024. These are the type of lessons, like we have a topwater master class that we're putting together for March. And if you join FlatsClass University, if you enroll, it's more than just me giving you how to. You having that direct connection to me, aside from YouTube where you get a hunt for stuff. You've got these organized online classes that you can go through for a fee, but we also send you tangible products like Mirrolure Duke Dogs every month with a QR code, with me with a lengthy video showing you how to fish this plug in 2 or 3 different scenarios for different species. You're also going to get a deep discount, a 20% discount at sodiumusa.com, which in the end, if you buy tackle the way that I do, you will pay for your membership in short order. So if you haven't checked us out at FlatsClassUniversity.com, please go there, check us out. Hey, and the best way to keep us trending where you get these tips for free right here on FlatsClass YouTube is give us that thumbs up. And for those of you that haven't subscribed, hit the subscription button and that notification bell. You don't want to miss these tips. Okay, until next time, which will be tomorrow, keep those rods bent. I want to see you in my class.